Welcome back to Hand of the Day. This is a thing maybe I'm going to do every day, maybe I won't, I don't know, who cares. Let's take a look at a hand of poker. This is NL100 on WSOP.com. I've got ace-4 of clubs on the button. You can see the player on my right I have marked as somebody who likes to open limp. Maybe that was marked later, I'm not sure, but they have posted, which means they've put in $1 blind in the cutoff and they check, and so I'm going to raise it up. Usually my raise sizing is 5x when somebody open limps. For a post, I could maybe make it a little smaller, but the idea is to, like, let's just give me the money. Just, oh, no, Rosa Parks will not get up. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So this civil rights icon decides to check to me, and I have ace high. And on this board, I think I should probably be betting range. I'm not sure. We're going to check it out in a moment with GTO Base. But I do go ahead and bet about a third pot in the moment, and Rosa decides to call. So the turn's an ace, which gives me top pair, no kicker. They check, and it's up to me. And I think this is a spot where I probably want to be checking back most things that aren't a king or some kind of like acquired equity draw, right? Like diamonds for sure, hands like 4 or 5 maybe, maybe some Queen Jack 10 region. So I go ahead and check it back. It's possible like a really good ace I could bet for value. I don't think I want to be bet folding value hands. Probably not much. I don't know. Maybe I can if my bluffs have a lot of equity, but they don't because the board's paired. Right, so I check it back, and then Rosa checks it to me again. Now, I think my hand's good here a pretty good amount of the time, but there are some hands like ace jack, ace 10, ace 9, ace 8. Some of those hands that I feel like if I bet here, most of what I get called by is going to be those better ace hands. I don't beat any aces, ace deuce and I chop, ace 5 and I chop actually, and ace 3 as well. But on the other hand, like maybe I can just exploitatively just put out a bet here because like, are they checking a king? Maybe. Check raise with the king would be interesting. So we're going to take a look at that in a moment. I decided to check it back. Hands that maybe I could get value from would be pocket pairs like 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, apparently they had. So I would have expected them to 3-bet this a lot pre, but maybe they wanted to get a 3-way with this player on my right, or maybe they just thought, well, I made it 5x, they don't want to be 3-betting 10s out of the blind. So let's go take a look at GTO Base now, whatever. Here we are in GTO Base, which is a powerful set of pre-solved solutions that you can look through. I would like it if you could click here, but you can't, but that's okay. We're going to go to view. We go to 6 max cash, NL100, which is the closest approximation we have. Granted, the rake is higher there, but that's okay. Also, the raise sizes are going to be different. I went for an isolation from the button. So I'm going to pretend like I was the cutoff because they don't have all of these solutions, right? So I'm going to act like I have a cutoff range, which I think is approximately correct, and that the big blind called. So we put that in, and then we put in our flop of king, king, 3, right? And the suits might be off, but I'll have the gist of it. And when they check to me, which we see they're supposed to do down here, right? Yellow is check. So they're basically checking range. And then I think I'm going to be betting third pot pretty much, yep, with range. Okay, so I got that right. I got the flop decision correct, right? This is just absolutely what we're supposed to do. We bet. Are they supposed to even have 10-10 in the range? They are, and they're supposed to just call it, right? I mean, they can raise a little bit, but basically you can see in the lower right-hand corner, I know the print is very small. If you're like on a phone or something, I will read it to you. They're supposed to call 44% of their range, fold 39% of their range, and raise 17% of their range, roughly. Most of these raises are mixes, right? So they've got a lot of king X. They're actually supposed to raise, like check raise a bunch of backdoor nut flush draws, and I guess that's like a backdoor wheel draw too, and then like 3-3, okay, pure raise, but then like 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, like a bunch of these hands, and like 6-5 suited. I think people do not check raise this enough. So even if I was only supposed to c-bet like 10% of the time, I should probably, I mean like 80% of the time, I should do 100 because people aren't going to play this correctly. Anyway, they do call, which is playing this correctly. And then the turn was an ace of diamonds, putting diamonds out there. And are they supposed to have any leads? Very few, right? They're supposed to lead 1% of their range. We can basically ignore that. They check. And do I bet a hand like ace 4? No, I don't. I basically want to start betting like ace 8 a little bit, ace 9, and, ace 10. Ace king, we bet very large, right? Because I mean, we're just super nutted. And aces, we always bet large. You can see down here, basically the dark green is bet pot and a half, I think, or pot and a third, something like that. Pot and a half, it looks like. The blue, the lighter blue, is bet third pot. And so there's some third potting, there's some over betting, and there's some checking. And my hand is mostly checking. So I feel good about that. I want to check my assertions. 5-4, yes, this is an over bet when we pick up that gutter with or without diamonds. I'm not sure how to filter just for diamonds. That's something I'll learn later. But a hand like, you know, the Queen Jack 10 region, you can see these hands are using the overbet size a fair amount, especially Queen Jack and Queen 10. Looks like Jack 10 mixes up the bet sizes. And all of these are mixing, right? So we can check or we can bet with those hands. My hand, however, is mostly checking. Proceeding to the turn after it goes check, check. So you can just click check, right? Just click through. And the river was what? An offsuit 5, right? So we'll throw that in. Hit OK. Pocket 10s for them. It's loading. It's loading. I like that it takes a while to load. It means it would be impractical as real-time assistance, which I certainly hope any software like this continues to be. I might make a video on that soon, actually. So 10s are a pure check. They're betting hands like ace 5, maybe because that's blocking pocket 5s, I don't know. But then these weaker aces check, and like ace 9 plus is supposed to bet. So I'm going to say, looking at this strategy, and they're betting most of their kings, I'm probably supposed to value bet an ace. I probably made a mistake there. And they're probably supposed to call some with their 10s. And they are supposed to bet about half of the time here, right? So ace 4, oh no, pure check. Hey, nailed it. All right, so what happens if I do bet this hand? So this is like, you basically can't bet it, but let's say a hand like ace 5, right? Let's say I bet that, and we just go bet for, what do you do, half pot? You probably do, yeah, half pot's the main sizing, because quarter pot's just so weird in position. But let's say I did bet half pot. What are they supposed to do with 10s? Do they call them? They mix? Yeah, of course they mix. Okay, all these pocket pairs, they're supposed to mix. If they like only called 10s, and then they folded 9s down, then you would want to value bet ace 9 and check ace 10, right? Because you want the calls. Whereas if they called 9s and folded 10s, then you would be value betting ace 10 because you can get called by 9s. So I think that's one of the reasons that they do this mixing strategy instead of just calling with the better hands. That's my alarm to not stare at the screen too long. Too late. All right, let's say that this hand was a success. I think I played the hand well. Let's just go on to the hand that was a little bit of a follow-up that I think is a bit fun. A short while later, at the same table, this player who sort of got that last hand going, they limp, actually, this time voluntarily. So I'm going to try and isolate them. I just hit pot. Usually I go 5x. I don't know why I did this. I was probably paying attention to other tables and rushing, and I just go like, pot, let's go. And they call, and I flop the nuts, and it's fun flopping the nuts. You know what's more fun than flopping the nuts? Flopping the nuts and having your opponent potted into you. Now, if they're bluffing, I want to let them keep bluffing, so I'm just going to call. And then the 5 on the turn really doesn't change much, and like now there's diamonds possible. I don't have any diamond blockers. They pot it again. And at this point, I'm thinking two things. One, I really don't want an action killer like a 9 or another diamond to come off, or even the board to pair if, they could outdraw me. I'm not that worried about that. But also, if they're potting it here and there's not that much back, I kind of feel like if I'm call this, then there's going to be 90 in the middle and 53 back. And I'm not that convinced they're going to bluff the river in that scenario. And I think their hand is probably something they like a lot, whether that means it's strong or just something they like. I think there's a good chance they'll go with it. So I jam and they snap call, and they had the king deuce. For top pair no kicker, and somehow miraculously my 100% equity hand on the turn held up, and we all lived happily ever after. So I started to record a thing looking at GTO Base in this latest hand, and it just didn't make any sense, right? These hands you just play exploitatively. You're not looking to really understand what the solver did. Here, this was just kind of a fun hand to throw on at the end. Anyway, hit like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you later. Peace.